Good morning, lovelies. Hope you're having an amazing day today. It's a really beautiful cycle that we're beginning today of Red Skywalker. And it's a real special 13-day process for me on many levels, one of which is when I first started really connecting to the dream spell in 2011 on the 2nd of November, and I got my first Mayan calendar. More of that in a while. This is going to be a long video, so you might want to watch it in segments. And the key thing today really is to focus on setting your intention for the next 13 days as to how you choose to create heaven on earth for yourself. That's the primary focus. As an alchemist, this is one of the most powerful 13-day processes in the whole 260-day cycle because it has 3 clear sign days. And astrologically, where it falls this time, there's some amazing astrology. So if you align yourself with these cosmic codes, you can achieve amazing things as an alchemist, as the Quetzalcoatl, walking the path, talking the path, and healing the past. So, where are we on the calendar? Well, we began on the 15th of December last year, and we've now completed the whole of the Red Castle. We are in the 3rd column. So the 3rd 20-day process of Red Dragon, which is key for co-creation, key for working with the first 2 20-day cycles as to what we want to create. It's a really amazing time in the Northern Hemisphere because we are really connected to everything is starting to open up now, and so are we at the same time. All the astrology is aligned. When we align with nature, this is so key. And Red Skywalker is like the Fool in tarot. So he's like new beginnings. That's what's coming at spring equinox. So we're now building up to that in Aquarius Sun. So we're here today, and this is the White Castle. And as you can see, we've also got a portal there lower down, which is White Mirror, which is also a clear sign. We've also got a clear sign the day before, which is red overtone earth. And we've also got another clear sign as we complete the 20-day cycle, which is yellow galactic sun, which is the Mayan sign of Pakal Votan, and that's where all the clear signs come from. If you want to find out more in-depth information about the clear signs, the 13 clear signs, and whether you are one or not, because that'd be quite interesting for you, then please check out my blog, put in 13 clear signs, and there's several articles on there for you to look at. Basically, in a snapshot, it's a process of key templates that the human being can connect to around getting clear of the old ancestral story. And that's what I offer you, that this is what the 260-day wave spell is all about. It's about revealing our own personal ancestral story on one level, which is the key for us as an individual, and also the bigger picture of human evolution code coming from the galactic sun, so that we can integrate with it through healing our heart. And again, this is key to what this process is about. It isn't about up here, it's about here. So it's about emotional healing. And I've just watched a lovely synchronistic post about how we connect to the sky is through our heart. And That's it. The more that we heal, the more we let go of the old story, the more we become a clear sign, and the more we experience heaven on earth for many different reasons. One of the key ones is that we have healed where we've been wounded, where our ancestors have been wounded. And so we're living a different lifestyle because of that. And again, that is complex, sounds simple. It isn't that simple to do, I know. And this is the task of the heart warrior. So the person who is surrendering to divine will and healing and learning new ways of being and creating heaven on earth for themselves. So Red Skywalker is the 13th Mayan sign. And so this is all about the shift. The human being who is ready to, I'm just going to share the document that I've made for the group of people that I'm working with at this time. So I started a new group at the beginning of this 260-day cycle, and interrupted by the bell there. That was the postman. So yeah, going with the flow with the video. So where was I? Yes, reshare the screen. Bear with me, this is new technology for me that I'm just getting used to. And isn't it great that one of the things about this time is it's really pushed us to do different things that we may not have wanted to do. So again, remembering that whatever is going on the planet, there is nothing outside divine will. So that's key to remember. It all happens for a reason, and it's finding the light in this amazing time of opportunity and potentiality of shifting us, the 13th avatar. So here we go. As an enlightening being, so a human being who is being proactive, much more than being reactive, and deciding to do whatever it takes to clear that old story from the inside, from healing, rather than trying to buy their stairway to heaven. So we see lots of that on the planet. You cannot buy your stairway to heaven. And again, we can see this with many archetypes in our society where people have achieved the American dream, if you will, and money, fame, power, and they're still not happy within themselves. So it's realizing that this journey really is within. This is the great work that is talked about. It isn't just a mystical experience. So it isn't just an intellectual, it isn't merely knowing alchemical processes, for example. This is about coming into peace with our own personal journey so far as a human being. And I offer you, that's why we beamed in to these ancestral stories, to understand what it's like to live often a hell life on earth, where we feel lost, we feel out of touch with source, we've lost our way as human beings, we've forgotten who we really are. And again, this is our fall from grace and key to this time. This is a turning point. This is where we're turning it around. And although it may not feel like that at times with things that are going on, it's trusting the process, and whatever comes up for us as a human being, it's really working with that energy now to become more self-aware, personal development, learning how we work as a human being on a psychological basis, on a biological basis, tuning in more and more as we get clearer to knowing what our body needs to heal, knowing what our heart wants, and to stop overriding it. That's very key. So we're the warrior of the heart and the shift, and we've had 12 Mayan signs come before that that take us through a process of the human being. And so by the time we get to Red Skywalker, we are ready to make that shift. So the Red Skywalker wave spell is the second red castle. The first red castle being Red Dragon, which always initiates. And in each castle, there are 4 wave spells of 13 days. And again, this is complex stuff. So for those of you that are new to watching or learning about this, I can't do anything about that. So I often get comments about that. It's a different language, it's a galactic language. And I try and make it as simple as I can. And so I'm doing the best that I can with that. Okay, so we start with Red Dragon. We have 13 days of survival. So here again on the document is going back to, if I can find it. In all of the documents that I create for people that I work with, it has the Gregorian dates. So you can cross over and check out what you were doing. So it doesn't matter wherever you come into this system, there's always a way of looking back and assimilating, and each cycle builds on the next. So Red Dragon was from the 15th of December to the 27th of December. And so that brought us all our survival codes coming up as to what was going on around the holograph on planet Earth at that time for us. And so Red Dragon is really aligning us with new code, healthy, balanced return to the sacred feminine. So we're right at the tip end of the patriarchal code right now, and it's starting to crumble, which is Pluto in Capricorn, so at the late degree. And this is going to continue. Things have to go so that new things can come in. So this can bring up a lot of survival issues. So on a personal level, of course, it's very individual. So it's what it is for you. Then the next 13 days were all our empowerment issues with White Wizard. And that was from the 28th of December to, sorry, I've put the wrong date on there, haven't I? So 9th of January, that should be actually. And so I'll have to amend that. So apologies about that, people who've got this document. And the next one, sorry, so to go back to White Wizard, this then was refined. So each wave spell brings up the next layer of the cake, if you like. And White Wizard is all about self-empowerment, letting the magic flow through us. So the magic is always flowing. The joy is always there on the planet. The love is always there. We're always held. We're always loved. This is the Garden of Eden. And it's our own mind and our own mindset and our own way of looking at the world because of our life experiences that changes that. So the next 13 days really brought about what was key for us around where we felt disempowered. And so how do we release that? What do we need to do? First of all, to heal it, and then to learn new ways of relating, new ways of being in the world. So for example, if you're in a position in a job where you're constantly being harassed by your manager, who isn't a very evolved person, who is very childlike, who is very limited in their communication, let's put it that way, and likes to be moody and doesn't create solution focused templates to work in, then that's going to create a lot of feeling of disempowerment for you. And no matter how much you try and work with that, if that person isn't willing to look at those issues, then you're constantly going to be going through the same scenario. So, really, the solution is probably to leave that situation and find something else as soon as you possibly can. And then the next phase was the 10th of January to the 22nd of January, which is Blue Hand. So this is, all the blues are always about transformation. Blue Hand in particular is about being able to shape your destiny and become the gift that you are, the avatar that you came to be. So acting on the previous one, look for another job, maybe become self-employed, do your heart's desire. Know that this situation is what it is. You can only change yourself. And that's how we change the world and our own experience of it. So, as a Red Skywalker, looking at what do I need to do to heal, what keeps coming up, what's a reoccurring theme, because otherwise you're just going to stay stuck in the same situation. The yellow is always the last one, and this is where we see the manifestation of the previous three. So in this particular one, it was the light body. Yellow sun is beginning with a clear sign. So again, the sun, the planet is Pluto. It's about how we heal our shadow story, and therefore we change our light body literally, and then we live a different situation. So from the 23rd of January to the 4th of February, you will be experiencing how much light you're holding and how much light story you're experiencing. And conversely, what shadow story is still coming up. So as you can see, this 260-day process, when used in this way, really is an enlightenment process where you can work very proactively with the codes coming in, especially when you tie them in with the astrology as well. So these are the planetary energies. And these are the codes that are beaming in that we can work with. So after completing that first castle, we now have all the information that we're going to be working with around what our survival issues are, what our empowerment issues are, what our healing issues are, what we need to learn, how we need to shape our destiny, tuning into our heart. What is it that our heart desires? That's the key. That's where our spirit is. And also where our assemblage point is, where our inner template is, how we perceive the world, what our story is. And of course, we've created this story, so we can create a new one by working with the story that we've already got, that we've co-created with so many people and experiences since we came into this world. Astrologically, we are now in Aquarius sun, and we're in waning moon, which means we're still in a letting go moon. And today the moon is in Scorpio. So Scorpio energy really is about death and rebirth and intimacy. How can we create intimacy? We have to have truth. We have to have a way of being honest and being around people who are honest. So to give that scenario again back to the boss, who we can't be honest with them because whenever we try to be honest, they don't want to hear it. There's going to be some drama. They're not solution focused. They're not wanting to move things along. They're wanting to play the drama in some way. So this is true with all relationships in life. If you can't have honesty with somebody, then this goes back to a past story where you're not being able to be honest for a particular reason. And going back to that old story, you'll see how this person is reflecting that theme again. And what do you do this time? Being a child is very different, of course, where we often feel disempowered because we are governed by adults. And we're seeing this scenario now on the planet where we're being policed, we're being governed. And again, there's lots of different reasons for that as well. So it's realizing that people are often very childlike and they don't mature, they don't learn how to behave. And so we're seeing often in various templates, various situations where we're having to live a different life because people won't behave in all different sorts of respects. Just because somebody is in charge of a country doesn't mean that they are an evolved human being who is respectful, who has done personal developments, who's done healing. And to be honest, I don't know of anybody in that position on planet Earth. Please do feedback to me if you know of somebody who has done their own personal inner work before applying for a position of power, because I just don't think it's happening on the planet at the moment. So this is something else that we're evolving into, and we can't expect people to be in that position of power, because generally people who are attracted to those positions are for the ego trip of what power means for them and how they use it and abuse it. And so this is where we are generally on planet Earth. There's very, very few people doing the Quetzalcoatl path. There's only a very small minority. So if that's you watching this video, fantastic. And more people are coming online now doing this process. So another thing to mention today is the Mayan moon. So we have 13 Mayan moons and they stay with the same cycle. And that cycle begins on the 26th of July every year, when we also have the beginning of the Mayan New Year. This system is different because it's a 260-day spiral. So that's why it has different astrology with it every time it begins. So it is complex, but over time you do get used to it. And it's just a different system to the Gregorian calendar, of course, and it creates a very different outcome because of the number 13. The number 13 is the key because it shifts us off the labyrinth of 12, which the Gregorian calendar is based on. And so any systems that are based on 12 are crystallized. That's the number in the Mayan calendar of 12, which is yellow human. So you can't get off it, you know, you're stuck with it. 13 is the number that gives us a shift. So the moons, there are 13 moons, and each one lasts for 28 days. So at the moment, we are in the 7th moon, and what's resonating with truth, what's resonating with authenticity is the key for us. Red moon is a planetary energy, and so it's also the number 9 Mayan sign. So it's the gateway. The 9th sign is the gateway. The 9th day on each 13-day process is where we go through a gateway and we can go to being a higher being if we integrate what has happened over the past 8 days. So we learn, we heal, and we go to another level, literally on the inside with our light body, with our hearts. We learn new things and we embody new things. That's what this time is all about, is embodiment. So do we live what we preach, what we teach? Excuse me. Or is it all just an idea? that we haven't embodied yet, that we don't live. Know them by the fruits of their labours. So another way of looking at that is somebody might have ideas, they might have ideals. We have lots of ideals on the planet, but the truth is most of the time people aren't living by them because it's not who they are. And so there's a big gap. They may say things, they may make promises, and again going back to the politicians, but do they actually deliver? And can they deliver? So again, when you see people's behavior, that's often very different to what they say. And again, this often comes out of the woodwork, doesn't it? Where they'll preach a set of rules and regulations and then get found out for not following them themselves. So yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so that's an old one as well, isn't it? Which is very confusing for a child. So in psychology, it's understanding that we model our parents, we model what goes on in our society, we model what is reflected back to us because that's how we're designed as human beings. So once we become really aware of that, then it's we understand how critical it is to set up good models for children. And so what we're seeing now in resonant moon, and it's the last day of that today, we're seeing what's resonated with us around authenticity and being the beacon of light, and we're seeing what hasn't and what shifts that we need to make because of that. We may see where we've struggled to be honest and truthful because of fear of what other people say about it, that we may lose our job, we may lose our home, we may lose our family, we may lose our friends. And that's been happening a lot for people because of everything that's happening on the planet right now. So different tribes being created around who believes in vaccines, for example, and who doesn't believe in vaccines. And so, and what this creates. So again, if you park the vaccine to one side and you just look at what's underneath that. So if somebody has a viewpoint where they're not willing to do their due diligence and research, they're just accepting what a group of people say rather than checking it out for themselves, then that may really stamp on your values and say, well, that's just not being an adult, you know, that's being a child, that's being codependent. And the flip side of that might be that they don't want to look at that. They're not willing to take responsibility for their choices. They're wanting somebody else to take responsibility for their health, for example, which is what the Western medical model is designed around, in order to sell products and in order to create a model of generally ill health. The focus is on ill health and being reactive, and somebody telling you how you have to take something rather than making lifestyle changes. You know, if you're unhappy, then, you know, take a pill. It's not going to fix it, is it? You know, how can it? Cannot. So this is the old model, the old paradigm that we're really becoming very aware of now around how the world business model is as well. So does that create heaven on earth? I watched a film this week called Dark Waters. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's very powerful. And so again, once you see what some of the big corporates are doing without asking our permission, you know, like, were you asked about this, if it was okay to put satellites up, for example? Were you asked about this around everything that's happening right now on planet Earth? Did you vote for it? Was there some sort of referendum set up, for you to make an informed choice about things? All of those are huge questions now at this Aquarius time and at this Red Skywalker time. So in terms of the sun today in Aquarius, we've got some big processes coming up. So I'm just going to go back to sharing my document. So again, this is what I like to do for myself and share this with my clients as well. So working with the 52 days that we're now in this process, we've got 4 more processes to build on the last ones. Okay, and as you can see from the document here, I also put in their personal codes, so you know what you're working with, because once you're 52, you've done all your codes, so you have all that information. And again, this is the amazing thing about the calendar, and I'm in my 10th year of working with it experientially now. So this is not an intellectual thing that I've designed. This is based on my own personal experience. So yesterday was key because that was yellow cosmic human. So in that last 13-day cycle, you will have seen your experience, known it, felt it, heard it as a human being, and what did you want to keep and expand on to create heaven on earth in the next 52 days? And what did you want to release? So I ask lots of questions there for self-inquiry for people. So today, Friday the 5th of February, initiating heaven on earth. And the sun is in Aquarius and the moon is in Scorpio, as I said, and it's at 26 degrees. So I'm just going to read you that. A she-wolf, her udders are full of milk, bearing within you something vast and wild and true. Your instincts given over to this seed. What can be, must be, impels sacrifice and renunciation, being held in the grip of vast primordial forces, taken over by depths that forge new worlds into being, stunned into submission, unconsciously obsessed with something that lives within you and cannot be forgotten, supercharged with energy, in tune with earth cycles, everything happening in a magnified and hypnotic atmosphere. The hidden worlds take charge. Individuality is eclipsed, and the surge of power dominates consciousness and life by its intensity and ruthless current right through the body, and there is nothing to say about it. Wow. Also, that ties in, excuse me, with the Mayan sign today, which is yellow seed. So yellow seed is the star seed. It's the 4th Mayan sign. And it's really key to understanding that we come and we're returning to doing this process now, this turning point at this juncture is about remembering who we really are. As the 4th Mayan sign, it's the whole structure. Again, it's in with the same tribe as Red Moon. It's a planetary energy. And we go into a yellow seed year this year on the 26th of July of alchemy. My apologies. I've got a frog in my throat this morning. So we learn lots of coping mechanisms. We learn a conditioned mindset, and that creates a path for us, for our amygdala and our ego and the way that we live. So it's like a computer program. Once we start to work with this as a Red Skywalker, then this can change. So that's so key. And also, in terms of the Thoth card that I had today for this cycle. So again, this is so key. And I just love how all these systems, they're all saying the same thing with a different, slightly different language. So in terms of the websites that I use for the degree, the moon degree, it's aquaorfire.net. And if you click on the degree of the moon, then it will give you a little story, a sigil that goes with that. I always use elitarotstrikingly.com for Thoth cards because he does an amazingly in-depth article on each one, so check him out. So the path of the Hebrew letter is Yod, and that's the Hermit, which again is key 9. Okay, so again, these cards are amazing as to the astrology. So it's a gateway point today. And so it's also known as the Christ Buddha Center. It's the very point or origin of our manifest universe. And so Yod is hand as well. So again, if we're going back to blue hand, the dates that I've given you. So this is Virgo. And on one level, this is the sacred feminine. It's the bridge between the macrocosm and the microcosm. And so it also means desert. And so again, if you think of going out into the desert, the Christ story, the 40 days and the 40 nights, and being away from anything to reflect back. So by yourself, connecting to source, free from any distractions. So it's the same energy as the Fool. So again, the wise child, Horus in the Egyptian. So this is the new age that's coming in, the new age of Aquarius, the beginning of a new sequence. And it's all about creating paths. It's connected here, which you can see at the bottom, to Cerberus that guards the gates of hell. So again, that implies the past, present, and the future being tamed by the Hermit. So when we heal the past, when we come into peace with it, and that doesn't mean excusing abusive behavior, it means accepting that we cannot change the past, we can change how we feel about it, we can come into peace with it. So anytime during this 13-day process where you're getting triggered, so that's your amygdala telling you there's a pattern match here, there's a warning here, part of me doesn't feel safe because this is a repeating scenario of the past where I have been hurt in some way. So once you start to work with this using emotional freedom technique, you can really connect. So you can follow that thread, that Ariadne thread, back through the labyrinth so that you can free yourself, first of all, from this old story that is still haunting you on one level, that is still hurting you because it's showing up, it's manifesting. You can heal that, you can clear the old story off, you can learn, and you can stop the wounding story carrying on for yourself. So, for example, if you get triggered, instead of reacting, you could just say to that person, I've been triggered. I don't want to engage anymore in this conversation. I need to go away and I need to get clear because otherwise it's going to create the same old story. It's just like a computer program. It's just like a magic spell. It holds that energy until it's healed. And then the individual who's the disciple is taking a different stance is becoming proactive, is healing, and then is doing a different behavior so it doesn't repeat. So this explains why all the major storylines are still repeating on planet Earth over and over and over, like we're stuck in Groundhog Day. And now they've become so expanded that we cannot ignore them anymore. All these narcissist patterns, all these sociopathic ways of relating, all these psychopathic ways of relating that manifest on planet Earth. Okay, so what it means is, as much as you can during this time, take a step back. Again, this is the story of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. So if you don't know that story, check that out. He was sold into slavery by his brothers, and he could interpret the Pharaoh's dreams. So he became a court advisor, and he followed his path in that way. And so this is a card of union. It's about union to source, and through seeing what is on the outside reveals the inside story, if that makes sense. You know, so we're in a massive holograph. We're always seeing on the outside our belief system on the inside. The universe has to bring us what we believe to be true. So what are we being shown on planet Earth right now? So Virgo is connected to the planet Mercury. Of course, we've got Mercury retrograde at the moment. It's going back over old ground in Aquarius. So what does that mean? It means we're seeing our bigger picture. We're seeing how we can become more solution focused. And if we're feeling a bit lost right now, we can go into a meditation, we can take some time out, we can get out in nature, we can reflect on things that have been happening over the past 52 days. We can go deep with that, we can journal with that. And if we're ready to go to the next level, we can tap on that using emotional freedom technique. So we get clear of this old story. And so today, that's the key, setting that intention. Tomorrow we have a shift because we're going into the lunar wizard energy. So we're going into connecting directly to that time period of white wizard, all our empowerment issues. And we've got Venus is conjunct Saturn at 5 degrees of Aquarius. So reality check, what's the new learning? Day twos are always about the new learning coming in. On Monday, we have got Sun conjunct Mercury, where we've got light coming through our higher self. We've got a new Mercury cycle beginning at 20 degrees. So again, this is new information. This is the warrior on the heart path, Monday, the 8th of February. Tuesday, the 9th of February, we have got red overtone earth. And so this is a clear sign. So this is very much showing us what ungrounds us and what we need to get clear of. And this is going into dark moon as well at that time in Aquarius. So that's going to be key. On Wednesday, we have got another clear sign and a portal day. So you can see here, this is a really key day because it's an akashic portal where we access all of time and space. So mark that in your calendar. On Thursday, we have the new moon at 23 degrees of Aquarius, and we've got 7 planets there. So We've also got a triple conjunction beginning until the 15th with Venus conjunct Mercury and Jupiter. So this is really lovely energy. And I've got a workshop on that day as well. So Avatar Ascension at 11 a.m. So I'll be putting that up as well today. If you want to come and join me for some amazing shifting energy where we can really connect to that vision, our bigger picture. Goes back to 1962 as well, where there was a similar age of Aquarius, so we can tune into that, whether you were around on the planet or not. If you were around on the planet at that time, you'll be doing your Saturn return right now as well. So that's really key for you to tune into that, see how you've got key themes reappearing now and what to do with them. That's also on the mystic day of Blue Resonance Dawn. And on Friday, we've got Friday the 12th, we've got another clear sign, which is Pakal Votan's sign. So that's going to be an amazing day as well. And then Saturday the 13th, we've got the Gateway Day. So we're passing through the gateway of Red Dragon. And we begin the fourth 20-day cycle. So seeing how self-existing we are. Sunday, we've got Valentine's Day, which is a manifestation day of spirits, how much we are manifesting our true starseed self, our spirit. And then skipping forward to Wednesday the 17th, huge day astrologically, where we've got Saturn square Uranus, both at 7 degrees of Taurus. So key for what you're initiating and how you relate. And so, yeah, that's Red Cosmic Serpent Day. So how our Kundalini's flowing, what is seeking to shift now in our relationships. So 13 days of processing all of that. So an amazing 13 days with lots of powerful energy coming in with the new age of Horus, of Aquarius, of getting free of these codependency codes, of what is no longer serving us, so that we can be free to be the seed. And in terms of the goddess card, we've got protection again. So that key is key for blue night, starry skies, which is key to Red Skywalker. It's a transformation process of Skywalker being the conscious dreamer. So most of the things that we've done up to now in life have been unconscious. They've come through our DNA. They've come through our ancestral patterns. They've come through us being asleep a lot of the time. And now is a time that we're awakening and we're transforming and we're creating this new earth through us as an individual being a process of becoming a clear sign. If you'd like to sign up for the next 52-day process, I'm taking a list now. I can only do so many people because there's a lot of work involved doing all these codes. So please do get in touch with me if you'd like to know more. And the next process that we're going into will be in the Blue Castle, this one here, which has 10 akashic record, Red Serpent. So that's going to be an amazing time. If you'd like to know any more information about your star code, how to work energetically with healing your heart, then please do get in touch. My website is flowwithjo.com. I hope you have an amazing heaven on earth embodiment time, and lots of love. See you soon.